Congressman and Freedom Caucus leader Andy Biggs to discuss this ongoing pandemic. Hi, Congressman. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Good to be with you.
So Dr. Anthony Fauci testified remotely before the Senate Health Committee earlier today. He gave a stark warning to states reopening their economies too soon. Before we get to the questions, I want to play you a brief clip of his.
What I've expressed then and again is my concern that if some areas, cities, states, or what have you, jump over those various checkpoints and prematurely open up without having the capability of being able to respond effectively and efficiently, my concern is that we will start to see little spikes that might turn into outbreaks.
So there's that warning from Dr. Fauci. Now, you recently criticized Dr. Fauci in a tweet saying that he uses a, quote, a bully pulpit to bring public criticism on governors who are seeking to open up their states. Why do you think Dr. Fauci is speaking out about the virus in bad faith?
Well, he said today in his testimony that that's primarily what he's been focusing on. He doesn't look at the economics. He doesn't necessarily look at societal impacts. He's said that before. He's been consistent with that. And the reality is, if you're a policymaker and if you're an American, you have to be concerned with opening up the community, the entire community and society, and also the pathologies that come with it. Several studies have come out and said that the lockdown is producing greater deaths and mental duress and mental illness than we might have otherwise anticipated. So he's not looking at those things, and so I've been critical because you need to look at the totality of what his policies have brought upon us.
And then looking at some of the data in your home state of Arizona, the local Department of Health there saying that today that there were 20 new reported deaths from COVID-19, bringing the total death toll to 562. And then there were 356 new positive cases, bringing the total number there to more than 11,700. Now, this data came in after some businesses did reopen last week, as we know, barbershops, retail stores. There are mitigation measures there in place ahead of Governor Ducey's stay-at-home order expiring. But based on this uptick, does Fauci's warning concern you about what might happen if Arizona fully reopens?
No, you're looking at data that came in over the weekend, so that's more than one day. So that's been part of the problem. Is every Monday you're going to see an uptick because you're getting data from over the weekend, and then in Arizona that data will taper off every week down towards the bottom. Additionally, if you look at the number of ventilators, you look at the number of ICU beds, you look at the number of people who are actually recovering from this coronavirus, you look at the places where there are hot spots, and you can open up the state safely based on all of that data and that scientific information.
Well, and finally, Congressman, switching gears a bit here now, President Trump's been focused on the previous administration. He's been accusing former President Obama of committing crimes related to the investigation of General Michael Flynn. Now, you sit on the House Judiciary Committee. Can you lay out what crime was committed based on the new evidence released by the DOJ?
Well, if you have falsified information, which we know that information was falsified for FISA applications, if you have abused process and power, then yes, you've probably committed some crimes, and we can investigate and go further. All of this is starting to come on out, and I'm grateful that Rick Grinnell is actually releasing and declassifying information that some of us were aware of for quite some time, and it urged that declassification. As more records are declassified, I think we'll be even further surprised as an American people at the abuse of power at the highest levels of this country.
All right, Republican Congressman Andy Biggs of Arizona joining us to discuss the ongoing pandemic and the case being dropped by the DOJ against General Michael Flynn. Thank you for your time.